Hey everybody, and welcome back to 15 Minutes with Stephanie Clark. We did change the name because last time it took a little more than 10 minutes, so now we're just go ahead and changing it to 15 Minutes with Stephanie Clark. But I'm excited about my guest today. I have Hunter Hanger, who is one of Virginia Beach's most popular real estate attorneys, and he's here to join us to talk a little bit about real estate and a little bit about life. So welcome, Hunter.
Thanks for having me, Stephanie.
Yes, you're welcome. We're both JMU Dukes, which
Go
I
Dukes.
love. I know.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the beginning. What made you want to go to law school? Like, think back to your JMU days.
Yeah.
What kind of made you go that path?
Classic liberal arts student, had no idea what to do with my life. My mom always said, "Oh, you should go to law school. You like to argue, right?" Like people who argue go to law school. Went to law school. Didn't really like all the fighting. Actually, I wanted to get along with people. I wanted to be kind of in business, and so I stumbled into real estate law when the economy was kind of bad and didn't have a lot of options, and ended up doing a lot of short sales back in the day. If you guys remember what short sales were, it was kind of a nightmare, and that's probably how I got to know you.
That is how I got to know you. You were working for Charlie Pittman, doing all the short sales. That seems like 100 years ago. Yeah. That couldn't have been fun, though. I mean, that pretty much stunk.
You know, it was a lot of being on hold with Bank of America. I remember when we had that earthquake here. What was that, back in 2012 or something like that? And I remember not being able to enjoy the earthquake because I was on hold, like yelling at like a Bank of America rep at the time. And then I was like, what is happening?
That's funny. Yeah. Everyone knows where they were when the earthquake happened. It's like exactly. Once in a lifetime. Yeah. Well, now we have a tornado that happened too. That was a little more destructive.
Yeah, that's definitely your neck of the woods. Great neck.
Yeah. Yes. But thankfully everything's okay now. Yeah. Where did you go to law school?
I went here to Regent. That's what brought me to Virginia Beach. They actually had a dual degree program in divinity and law.
Oh,
and
wow.
I thought I might go into ministry. So I was like, hey, I'd kill two birds with one stone, get both degrees, and worked out pretty well. Ended up loving Virginia Beach, digging roots here because I'm originally a Richmond boy.
Okay, good. Did you ever do anything in ministry as a career or as a job?
You know, I worked in the church for a summer.
Okay.
It
didn't last long.
Yeah, I wanted to fire everybody because nobody seemed to be doing what they were supposed to be doing. You've probably been there. You've been in the church long enough to know that people are driven by ideologies and sometimes their own ideology. And I thought maybe I'm better suited for the business world than church world. Yeah, but I still do a lot of ministry. Yeah,
that's good. That's good. So you worked with Charlie Pittman for a while, and did you ever do any other type of law?
No, it came straight out, did mainly short sales and transactions, and then 3 years in, thought it was about time short sales were drying up for me to either launch my own firm or become a partner, and thought, you know what, I want a fresh start. I'm going to launch my own firm, and I ended up having to start my firm out of a landscaping office with my good buddy Doug White.
Oh, wow.
With, landscaping equipment, spit cups. It was an interesting setting to launch my firm out of, yeah.
So what was your dream back then for your firm? Did you have an idea of what you wanted it to look like? Because it's so successful today, and we love partnering with you on so many of our closings. So what was the dream? How did it start?
Great question. I didn't actually know what I wanted to do early on. I think it kind of crystallized as I started realizing that a lot of what I was doing, especially like sitting on hold with the banks, I could hire somebody else to do, and I could go do other things that were more profitable for my own family and for the firm. And so immediately I kind of had an intuition to scale and to give work away. And I recognized as I gave work away, I could go get more work. And it became pretty fun for me to challenge myself to do that over and over and over again. And it's how we end up with 10 attorneys and 30 employees and multiple businesses. Is I keep thinking, I think somebody else could probably do this job better than me or as well as I can. So why don't I give it to them? And lo and behold, it seemed to work out pretty well.
That's great. Yeah. That's interesting. Do you have 10 attorneys now?
Yes.
Because I have 10 agents now, and I have 30 employees.
Whoa, we're exactly the same size.
That's
I didn't
so
know that.
Weird. That's so weird. And then you own your building. I own my building. Yep. Your building is much cooler than my building.
I don't have quite the curb appeal of the interstate.
But I don't have a rooftop bar and what do you call it?
Anytime
like
you
event
want.
space, a rooftop event space. Yeah, it's really, that part's awesome.
Thanks, Stephanie.
So who was your first attorney?
Mark Stevenson, my CEO.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I
he
love
was my
Mark.
first attorney. Took a risk. I moved his family down from Michigan. They were practicing up there, but he was my buddy from law school, and now he's my CEO. I managed to. He launched my Newport News office. Did a great job with that, and he's just very practical, passionate about developing people, and he happens to be really good with software, which most people don't realize. Kind of makes our worlds go around in a lot of sense.
That's right. We need those people for
Very
sure.
software driven.
Yeah, we need those people. Well, one thing I love about you is that you're such an entrepreneur, and having Mark as the CEO has enabled you to kind of do some other ventures. Tell us a little bit about the other ventures you have going on, maybe kind of what you've learned from that.
Yeah. Kind of as I've observed markets, my dad was in commodities and bought and sold propane, and I always thought, oh, it'd be interesting to be in commodities because they're kind of the lifeblood of commerce. And so we got into real estate, because everybody needs a house, everybody needs somewhere to live. And so it's fundamental to what we need. And as I studied that, I thought, well, there's a lot of supplemental businesses to real estate that people need that I thought weren't done very well and weren't done very well at scale. And so started a termite company through that, started some insurance companies through that, and currently starting a surveying company. So I've started companies that are supplemental with experts in the field that I've met along the way who didn't quite have the courage or finances maybe to launch their own business or quite the business resources that I have. And so I looked at them, and they were cool guys, cool gals, and I said, wait, why don't we start a business together? And it's been incredibly rewarding, a really fun journey, and I've learned a ton about starting businesses. That's probably the one thing I'm actually an expert at because I'm such a generalist. I've done a lot of different kinds of things, but starting businesses to me is a deep passion of mine. I love helping people start businesses, even if I don't own part of them. I love to see people succeed as entrepreneurs. It's really, really rewarding.
Yeah, that's great. I love entrepreneurs. I don't feel like I am one because I've stuck with my business for 30 years. I do nothing else.
You're just not ADD enough.
Maybe I don't have that. Well, first of all, tell everybody the name of your termite company and your insurance company, just so we can give them a shout out.
Talent Termite and Tidewater Insurance.
Okay, good. Yeah. And I know the people there, and they're all wonderful. I would recommend them as well. So let's talk a little bit about, as a successful person, what are some habits that you find that you do in your life that are important to keeping you in that successful mode, moving forward, that type of thing?
Yeah. Well, I think first and foremost, because of my background in faith, I think prayer is a really key component of what I do. So for me, prayer connects me to the hearts of my employees. So it's an opportunity for me to care about the things that they care about, whether that's their livelihood or their families or their ambitions in the workplace. So I find that when I pray for them, I start to learn them because it triggers questions or concerns for them, and I'm able to engage them. And I think also that combined with just conversation, so making sure I'm talking to them and engaging, what their weekend was like and what their kids are doing. I've realized shows them that I care, and I really do, but I think as a person who has a lot of relationships, it can be easy to get distracted or kind of get out of the rhythm of that. So trying to connect to their hearts and their ambitions is really important. I also have coaches. I've always had coaches to help understand ambitions. I think ambitious people sometimes don't even understand what drives them. And so for me to, one, learn what drives me, and then two, understand what drives those people around me allows me to help them achieve what they want to achieve. And that's why, I don't really have turnover amongst my key personnel, is because they know that I'm more for them than they can be sometimes, and my boat rises with their ambitions being fulfilled. So yeah,
that's awesome. I love that. Thinking about your practice, and the real estate attorney is such an important role in the real estate transaction, and we do work with a couple other awesome attorneys, but out there. So we're committed to using attorneys and recommending them to our buyers and sellers. What would you say is a pitch to why a buyer or seller would want to go with a real estate attorney as opposed to maybe a title company?
Yeah. Well, first, we're the same price. Really, what we're providing is closing services, and we're providing title insurance typically. Closing services entails preparing a settlement statement with all the finances and being your escrow agent, but it also involves a lot of problem solving. And that's essentially what lawyers are expert problem solvers. And we're problem solvers in contracts. And as you well know, a real estate transaction involves really complicated contracts and a number of different contracts. And so we know those contracts backwards and forwards, and we're going to be your advocates as it relates to making sure that the contracts are enforced. And probably about 30% of our real estate deals right now, I don't know about you, I'd be curious, are not going to closing. So that means
Really?
people are releasing, that means they're terminating. And so whether you're listing your home for sale, that's going to be a shock on your system if 1 out of 3 buyers are going to bail on you. Or if you're looking to buy, you need to know what your rights are in terms of getting out of the contract if for whatever reason during inspections you find something wrong with a house. And so really a non-attorney can't give you all those options on the table as well as an attorney can, or if at all, they can't give legal advice. So it's very important you use an attorney. And so for me, it's an honor to be a reflection of an expert brand like you. I know you know the contract probably better than me because you've been working with it even longer and in more depth in some ways. And so when we partner together on a transaction, I have utter confidence that we're going to be able to get down to the essence of what needs to be done quickly and creatively.
Yeah, that's true. And I rely on you as the attorney, whether we're closing with Lindsay Barton, who's probably our favorite attorney at your firm.
Lindsay's amazing.
We all love Lindsay. We just know if there's a problem that comes up, we're going to partner and you're going to have our back to support, what we think might be going awry and how we can help everyone in the transaction understand the situation.
Absolutely.
Which can be tricky, at times. But I know real estate law seems kind of boring. It might seem boring to people. It's not like criminal law.
Yeah.
But have you had any crazy stories that you can remember in your history?
Definitely. I mean, I remember a transaction you and I had together in the back of Allenton where we essentially had a fraudulent buyer.
I think I remember that one.
Yeah. The seller was a lawyer. His wife was a financial advisor. Just great people. You were on the list side. And for whatever reason, this was a cash buyer. And we're just like, they can't close. Oh, why can't they close? And made up some excuse after another excuse. Well,
right. I remember.
Started getting fishy after 3 or 4 weeks.
She had to meet with someone at the bank and they weren't available.
Yeah.
So we couldn't close
Yeah,
for
we
a
could
week.
never get in touch with their banker.
Yeah, right.
And then when we did, there was not a proof of funds.
Weird. It all got really weird.
And then they kind of ghosted us, and we were trying to figure out what in the world happened. And all the while, you had to mitigate the damage and get the house back listed again.
Yeah.
And that cash offer was better than other offers we'd gotten.
Yeah, that definitely was one of the worst.
That was a wild experience.
And I, remembering back, I think that woman ended up going to jail. I think she had a lot of funny business going on. She didn't go to jail over our deal, but she was a bad person.
Yeah, that was. I felt really bad for the sellers. Fortunately, they had a great attitude throughout the trial.
I know, they're such great people.
Yeah.
So,
can I ask you a question, Stephanie?
Yes, you can ask me a question.
You guys have been doing this for decades in Virginia Beach. The market's really slowed down. I mean, how is that impacting your team, and how are you guys feeling through the slowdown?
Well, we always try to remain optimistic. I'm super optimistic. It is slow. Fall is always slow. This year, there's less homes on the market, and also a lot of the buyers have left the market because of the interest rates. But I feel like it's going to just be kind of easygoing from now till the spring, and then we'll see it all pop back up again. Our secret sauce is staging homes. So when we put listings out there, they do sell immediately, which I love, just because they look so good, and we're so picky about the way they come to the market.
Yeah, that's. I was always impressed. I mean, if you've ever been to Stephanie's office, you're going to see like there's this huge storage area with all kinds of crazy staging items that make a house look way better. Yeah. You bring really nice value to a home, and identifying what small tweaks need to be made to get a far better return on your investment. Yeah. And you were saying earlier that you're seeing homes go so much quicker that are in good condition, that have decent renovations, that aren't looking dated, and you see buyers still going for those, even a lot of times cash buyers, you were saying, right?
Yeah. So, cash buyers are still out there, which I'm happy about. Okay, so I have some quick questions. We're going to do a lightning round here. So first, what is your favorite restaurant in Virginia Beach?
I'm going to Zoe's tonight for my wife's birthday. Oh, but Jesse Weichel's my favorite chef.
Oh, that's so great. I love Zoe's. All right, what's your favorite thing to do in your free time?
Surf.
Easy. What is your favorite show to watch at home?
The Kingdom.
The Kingdom?
The Last Kingdom.
What's it about?
On Netflix. It's about the Viking conflict with Old England.
Okay.
It's amazing. You should watch it.
I don't know. That's not my style, but
my wife loved it.
Okay, what is your favorite vacation spot?
Costa Rica.
And what's your favorite thing about your home? You live down in Croatan.
Being able to wake up and check the surf every morning.
Nice. Do you surf every day?
When there's waves.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Hunter, thank you so much
Yeah.
for being here today.
Yeah.
I pitched a book last time. I want to pitch a book again this time. It's by Beth Moore. It's called All My Knotted Up Life. Beth Moore changed my life when I started doing her Bible studies, way back 20 years ago. And her autobiography came out this year, and it's fantastic. And my husband even read it, and he said it was so good.
Really?
And I'm halfway through, but every guy I know is loving this book too. So
Wow.
check it out. And thank you so much for joining us today.